Hello, and welcome to a journey into the heart of the Australian Dreamtime, where magic and nature live side by side. Today, we're telling the story of a very special and very thirsty frog. Long, long ago, when the world was still taking its first breath, there lived a magnificent green frog named Tiddalik. He was wonderfully big, beautifully round, and, I must admit, just a little bit greedy. One morning, as the golden sun painted the sky, Tiddalik woke up with a thirst so powerful it felt like a fire in his belly. A thirst bigger than any he had ever known. He hopped with a mighty asterisk thump. Thump, thump, asterisk to the nearest riverbank. The water flowed cool and clear, shimmering under the morning light. Tiddalik bent his great head down and began to drink. He drank and he drank, sipping and slurping, gulping and guzzling. He drank until the riverbed was nothing but damp mud and smooth stones. But his thirst wasn't quenched. So, Tiddalik hopped on. He found a vast, sparkling lake, home to fish and lilies, and he drank that, too. He slurped it all up until the lake was just a giant, empty bowl in the earth. He didn't stop there. He drank the water from every pond, every stream, and every little billab. He even licked the tiny, glistening drops of dew from every leaf and blade of grass. Soon, a hush fell over the land. Every single drop of water was gone, safely stored away in Tiddalik's enormous, bulging belly. The world grew dry, dusty, and silent. The air, once filled with the happy sounds of buzzing insects and croaking frogs, was still. The mighty gum trees drooped their leaves, their branches reaching out as if pleading for a single drop of rain. The colorful fish lay gasping in the mud, with nowhere left to swim. All the other animals watched in fear, their throats dry and their hearts heavy. The entire land was suffering, all because of one frog's incredible thirst. The animals knew they had to do something. They gathered in a dusty clearing under the shade of a wilting acacia tree. The kangaroo, with its powerful legs and worried eyes, stood tall and declared, "This cannot go on. We must find a way to stop Tiddalik and get our water back." The wombat, usually so calm and steady, sighed a dusty sigh. "But how can we? He is so big and full of all the water in the world. We are too small to fight him." The other animals murmured in agreement, their spirits low. Just then, the wise old snake, who had seen many seasons come and go, slithered silently into the center of the circle. Her voice was a soft, dry whisper that carried a strange sense of hope. "We cannot force him to give the water back," she hissed gently. "Fighting will not help us." The animals looked at each other, confused. "What can we do then?" asked the kookaburra, his usually cheerful voice now quiet and concerned. The snake raised her head, her ancient eyes gleaming. "There is only one way," she said. "We cannot make him give it back. But we can persuade him. We must make Tiddalik laugh." "Make him laugh," chirped the little wren, hopping from foot to foot. It seemed like an impossible task. Tiddalik sat by the empty riverbed like a great green mountain, his face grumpy and his eyes barely open. He didn't look like a frog who was ready for a good chuckle. "Yes," the snake insisted. "His belly is stretched so tight. If he laughs, a real, deep belly laugh, all the water will come pouring out again." A spark of hope ignited among the animals. It was a strange plan, but it was their only chance. They had to try. So, the great Tiddalik talent show began. One by one, the animals stepped forward to perform for the giant, water-filled frog. First, the graceful emu tried her luck. She danced the funniest dance she could imagine, kicking her long legs high in the air and wobbling her neck from side to side. The other animals tittered, but Tiddalik didn't even smile. He just blinked slowly. Next, the kangaroo gave it his best shot. He bounced in frantic, silly circles, hopping on one foot and then the other, pretending to trip over his own tail. It was a truly ridiculous sight, but Tiddalik's expression didn't change. He just sat there, motionless and unimpressed. Then, it was the kookaburra's turn. He perched on a branch and told his silliest jokes, the ones that usually made the whole forest roar with laughter. Still, nothing. Not a giggle, not a grin, not even a twitch from the grumpy frog. The animals began to lose hope. Was Tiddalik's sadness as big as his belly? Just as despair began to set in, a small, slippery creature wriggled forward. It was the Ill. He was usually shy and quiet, preferring the cool mud at the bottom of the river. But now, with his home gone, he knew he had to do something brave. He began to slither and slide on the dry ground. He twisted his long, slick body into a pretzel. Then he tied himself into a perfect knot, and with a wiggle, untied himself again. He looped and curled, wiggled and writhed, spinning around so fast he looked like a blurry ribbon. He looked so utterly absurd, so comically ridiculous, that the other animals couldn't help themselves. A small giggle escaped from the wombat. The emu snorted. Soon, the entire audience of animals was howling with laughter. Tiddalik watched the spinning, nodding. His grumpy face twitched. A strange rumble started deep within his enormous belly. The rumble grew louder and louder until... Ha! Ho! Tiddalik burst out, laughing. It wasn't a small chuckle. It was a gigantic, earth-shaking roar of laughter that echoed across the plains. He laughed so hard that his whole body shook like a giant jelly. And as he laughed, it happened. A trickle of water escaped from the corner of his mouth. Then a stream, then a gushing torrent. Streams of water poured from his mouth, rushing down the hills, carving new paths in the dry earth. The water filled the riverbeds, splashed into the lakes, and topped up the ponds. The land drank deeply, and the world came alive once more. The animals cheered and stomped their feet, dancing with joy in the wonderful, life-giving rain that was returning to them. The fish flipped happily in the newly filled rivers, and the trees lifted their leaves to the sky in thanks. As the joyful sounds echoed through the newly watered land, the wise old snake smiled. She watched the animals celebrating and the green returning to the landscape. Now we know, she said, her voice filled with wisdom. Greed can be powerful enough to dry up the entire world, but laughter, friendship, and working together are even more powerful. They can bring it all back to life. From that day forward, Tiddalik the frog was changed. He was still big and round, but he was no longer greedy. He learned to drink only what he needed, sharing the precious water with everyone. He became a gentle guardian of the rivers, a friendly green giant who watched over the land and helped keep it alive and vibrant for all creatures. And even now, if you listen closely on a quiet morning in the Australian bush, you might hear the cheerful, bubbling call of the kookaburra. It sounds just like a happy laugh, a joyful reminder of the day the animals worked together. And a slithery eel made a very thirsty frog laugh so hard that he refilled the world. Thank you so much for joining us for this magical tale. If you enjoyed our story, please give this video a like. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more enchanting stories from around the world. We'll see you next time.